Hi, I'm Trooper Smacka.
Hi, I'm Trooper Wellman.
Please stay tuned for a behind-the-scenes look at being a state trooper.
And together, we can make a difference.
Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios with Trooper Talk with Lieutenant Munoz of Nevada Highway Patrol. Lieutenant, thank you very much for coming and being on Trooper Talk.
Thank you for having me, sir.
So we have some things to talk about today. What is the thing that you specialize in?
So I'm the lieutenant of our Special Operations Unit, which consists of task forces, the Southern Nevada Highway Interdiction Team, and the DUI Strike Team.
So I have some pictures here. I know you can't share everything, but
Okay.
you know, I want to just get your thoughts on this. So this is something that just happened. Now,
Yes, sir.
in the state of Nevada, marijuana is legal.
Absolutely it is.
Why would someone do this with marijuana?
Because there's a market to undercut the dispensaries, and that's a huge problem. Like you said, marijuana is legal, but it's legal through the right chains. This is obviously not legal. This was an individual that was trafficking it from one side of the state to the other, legitimately from the West Coast to the East Coast, because there's a huge profit in there. He's not doing it for medicinal purposes. He's not doing it under any legal circumstances. It's 100% illegal what he's doing. This was 60 pounds of marijuana.
And so this person is driving on Nevada highways.
Correct.
Speeding, not speeding, it doesn't make a difference, but you and your team are trained to look for things like this. Is that correct?
That's correct. Our first and foremost job is traffic safety. No matter what our operation is, this is the Southern Nevada Highway Interdiction Team that made this case, but we are the Nevada Highway Patrol, so our first mission is traffic safety. So this vehicle was stopped for hazardous moving violations, and once the traffic stop was initiated, the trooper approached the car and noticed several signs that criminal behavior was afoot on top of the traffic violation, so they investigated a little bit further.
And so what about this one?
That was 63 pounds of methamphetamine that was seized off the highway.
I mean, this person was driving down the road, whether this person was on it or not, right? But they're traveling down the road. This is going to kill people.
This is going to infest our community right here. This will infest an entire community. So I'm so proud of my team for taking this poison off the road.
And so, I mean, when we look at this from an outsider standpoint, we don't realize maybe how much this is. I mean, you know, this is a tremendous quantity. Is that right?
Yes, that's 63 pounds. That's a substantial seizure.
And I mean, you know, and then we go to this one, right? We talked about this last week on Trooper Talk. Talk to me about fentanyl.
Fentanyl's huge right now. It's a huge problem. It doesn't take much. It's fatal in low doses. That's one of our main missions right now, is to take fentanyl off the road. We're actually working an operation this week where we're specifically targeting fentanyl.
When we talk last week, Trooper Wellman got very passionate when it came to the fentanyl, because just like you did for this stuff and for this, right? This fentanyl is horrible stuff. And so talk to us a little bit about, the interdiction part of the Nevada Highway Patrol as much as you can.
So we're trying to interdict all illegal contraband from coming into our community. As state troopers, we all took an oath upon graduation from the academy to protect this great state. And this is something that is our job, is to keep this poison out of homes in our community. This destroys homes. Even if it's not fatal, this destroys families. This tears families apart. It's our job to step in and interdict that and prevent that from happening.
You're very passionate.
Yes, sir.
You've seen this on a personal level.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us a little bit about on the personal level. How have you seen this rip people apart?
As a kid growing up, I saw what crack cocaine did to our community. I saw what narcotics did in general. I've spent 20 years as a police officer, and I've seen countless number of bodies of individuals that were either have unfortunately overdosed, were involved in gang violence because they're fighting over territories where to sell these illicit drugs. It spirals out of control, and it really hits my heart, because we need to keep this stuff out of our communities. But it doesn't stop there. Just because someone's arrested with this stuff, there's a difference. because someone's caught with this stuff and they're the user, they're the ultimate user, the user doesn't make them a bad person. There's a reason people use narcotics. If you go back, there's a reason. Nobody wakes up and says, you know what, I'm just going to use methamphetamine today. Let's go. There's something happened in their life. So it's, one, our job to get this stuff off the road and out of our community. However, it's also our job to be full circle in life and be there for them when they get out of prison to help rehabilitate them. Otherwise, we haven't done our job because we're just going to keep repeating the cycle. We have to take it a step further in law enforcement and break that cycle and get integrated with these families and help them recover.
Is this why you're a police officer?
Absolutely, sir. It's to serve the community, and there's no greater service than keeping a family intact. Or, like I said, it's one thing to arrest someone, send them to prison. That's the easy thing. We can do that all day long. But how's that working out? We can't arrest our way out of problems. We now have to take it full circle and be there waiting when they get out to help them rehabilitate and integrate into society.
And so being a lieutenant, you're obviously a mentor for everyone who works underneath you in this department.
Absolutely. I try to set an example. I can only share my experiences, and that's part of my job as a lieutenant, to be a leader and pass down knowledge that I've gained over the years, not just from me. This job isn't learned, it's passed down, I believe. Nothing I came up with was on my own. I've had some great leaders that I've followed that have passed down knowledge, and it's just passing on, and leaving my position better than I found it. And that's my ultimate goal. If you do that, you're affecting a community.
Well, I must tell you, by getting this stuff off of the streets and getting this stuff out of our communities is tremendous, and it's a tremendous step in the right direction. Let's go to this one. Now, they have a DUI strike team. Now, the reason that I want to talk about this today is I don't think I'm the only person who is confused on which weekend is the Labor Day weekend, because it's later this year. And so normally I thought that it was this weekend, and it's actually the next weekend, yes, right? Sir. And so when it comes to holidays, talk to us a little bit about the things that go into preparation for that.
We're always prepared as state troopers. These are working hand in hand with our Las Vegas Metro partners. We have a very close relationship that's been formed with this team, this DUI strike team. We work 24 hours to remove impaired drivers from the road. That's a crime that's 100% preventable. That's a choice that's made to get in a car. Lives are taken, family members are lost because somebody made a choice. Again, does it make them a bad person? No. But they made a terrible and horrible choice. I'd much rather arrest somebody for driving under the influence and have them yell and scream at me the entire way to the jail, knowing that, one, they're safe and they're going to jail, and the motoring public is safe as well because these amazing officers and troopers did their job. We live in Las Vegas, Nevada. We want people to come and have a good time, right? That's what we come to Las Vegas for. That's where we're at.
That 100%. I mean, that's... You know, and we talk about that on the Trooper Talk, you know, with the impaired driving and the wrong way driving and all that. I mean, continue. I want to hear it. I mean, this is true passion that everybody needs to hear, because let me just tell you, we need to save one life.
Yes.
Then we can move to saving two. Talk to us more.
I love it. So like I said, we want people, this is where we live, Las Vegas. One of the amazing things about living here and working here is the diversity of people we come in contact with. We come in contact with people from all over the world. This is an extremely unique city in the fact that we don't shut down. We don't have a 2 o'clock curfew, 2 a.m. curfew. Yeah. We're 24 hours, which means we have to be prepared 24 hours to keep these roadways safe. And again, we want people to come and party. This Las Vegas. Let's have a good time.
Have a good time.
But let's do it responsibly. Let's take care of one another. In today's day and age, there's no excuse. With all the ride shares, buses, there's so many ways, casino shuttles. It's inexcusable to get a DUI. It's 100% inexcusable.
We talk about it on Trooper Talk because for the holiday weekends and things like that, it is. And when Trooper Wellman, that's one of the things that she always says is, you know, that with all the different ride shares and stuff like this. Let's talk about this one. Now, this I took statistics in December of last year. Okay? Now, one of the things when Trooper Smacka and Trooper Wellman are here, we always like to talk about things that we consistently repeat. I know that a lot of people are like, all right, stop repeating it. But it's important because if we keep repeating it, it's going to help. Now, even though this was done in December and it's not current, these are things that happen on a holiday weekend, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so, you know, there's firearms, there's going to be drugs, right?
Yes.
Talk to us about a holiday weekend and things of this nature.
So what stands out about this is amazing work on one hand. On the other hand, we shouldn't be doing this because these are choices. Those 20 DUI arrests, that's a choice. 100% preventable. The 2 firearms is what jumps out at me. We have 20 impaired individuals with firearms in their possession. Not okay.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. Right, because when you're impaired, not only you're behind the wheel, but maybe you would make, obviously, wrong decisions with a firearm that is a deadly weapon, right?
And I understand, I'm pro-Second Amendment, I get it, but you can't mix the two. The two do not mix at all.
And so when we talk about the traffic stops, these could just be random traffic stops, right? Like, you know, whatever, the person is just, you know, not following this signals or something in a traffic sign. And then from that, all these things happen, right?
Things spiral out of control when you get behind the wheel.
And not to bring it up, but just like you said about the first picture that we saw, how it was just a regular traffic stop. All right. How about this one? State trooper is here, right?
Yes.
You know, what is going on here?
Teamwork is what's going on right there. You have 2 amazing agencies in Nevada Highway Patrol and Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department removing an impaired driver from the road.
Because of a choice.
Because of a choice
right?
that he made.
Okay.
We can't do this on our own. It takes every agency in this valley to come together, which is why when you see those DUI blitzes, that's multiple agencies coming together for a common cause. And we publicize it. It's not a surprise that we're out. Our PIOs do an amazing job of getting information out that we're going to be out. It's not a surprise that we're out on holiday weekends. We're out every night, 24/7. We are there to protect the motoring public.
I think you know, they do. They even say we're going to be at this location.
There's requirements,
and people still drive by there and they're still impaired, right?
Absolutely.
All right. What about this one? This is a DUI test, right?
That is.
Okay, so walk us through maybe a little bit what the officer is doing here while the person is there.
So that's the one leg stand test that she's demonstrating. What that requires, it's a psychophysical test. Which means you have to take in the information, process it, and then physically perform it. So you have to do 2 things. It's divided attention. So you have to balance on one leg for 30 seconds, and the trooper in this case is looking for specific clues that will be displayed if somebody is under the influence. So that relates back to a car, the divided attention test. So we're only asked, there's 4 clues in this test that she's specifically looking for. Okay, 4 things that she's looking for.
You don't have to tell me.
Okay. But now, when I say 4 things,
right.
It only takes 4 things to do this test. How many things does it take? How many things does it take to operate a motor vehicle? You got to monitor your speed, road conditions, weather, traffic signals, stay in your lane, speed. There's so many things that go into operating a car. We're only asking for 4 here. If they can't perform these 4, there's no way they're safe to operate that vehicle.
And you know, we showed a video once where, you know, these are cars that are on the side of this that are driving down the road at 55 miles an hour next to where these tests are being performed. And again, in your office, right? You know, most people have a building and nobody's going through the building. You know, these troopers and the Metropolitan Police, I mean, they're there on the side of the road.
And fortunately here we're on a sidewalk, which gives us a little more comfort.
Right.
A lot of the times we're on 15 at Sahara in the middle of rush hour.
Right.
So this is actually kind of comforting to see him on a sidewalk.
Yeah, okay. Well, and so let's go to this one now. Now, I spoke to Trooper Wellman before this, today, Trooper Wellman and Trooper Smacka. They were explaining to me about this, but, you know, it's not good here.
Tragedy.
And so, again, a choice was made, and the wrong choice. So one of the things that we're going to take away from our interview today is don't make the wrong choice.
Drive your car. You have one job.
You know what I'm saying?
Drive your car.
And
leave everything else alone. That text message can wait. The commercials on the radio, they can wait. Listen to them. You have one job: get from point A to point B with both hands on the steering wheel, looking out your front windshield, occasionally checking your rearview mirrors.
Did you see the light pop on?
I did.
Oh, that's like the light of, oh, right. But it is very important, right? Like, you
Yes.
know, we don't want to make a joke of it, but we want to
No, it
be
is.
joking in the sense that we want to be serious that, you know, somebody lost their life.
There's a human being attached to that.
There's a human being
That's
attached
not a
to
car,
this, right?
That's a human being.
Now, this one here, I learned last week. I didn't realize when we showed one of the pictures that there was a shoe. And so Trooper Wellman said, you know, in the top corner, you know, there's a shoe there. That's somebody's life, right? And so I didn't pick up on that. So in the far right corner, apparently this is a motorcycle. And so, you know, I mean, the motorcycle went into the, and I look at it like, you know, how hard it would be to bend a piece of steel. I mean, that's right.
Yeah, and that's the motorcycle. There's not much protection there.
Not much protection.
And again, you look, you have a rider and a driver who left their house that day, probably said goodbye to their families. And because of a bad choice, lives have been changed.
Lives have been changed, right? I show this one, you know, I mean, horrific, right?
Again, tragedy, that's what pops in my head. I mean, 100% is preventable.
Preventable. Now, this one here I didn't know, but when Trooper Smacka and Trooper Wellman, as soon as they saw this, they go head-on collision. Wrong way driver. Talk to us about wrong way driving.
You have to be pretty impaired to get on a highway and go wrong way. Because what most people don't realize, as troopers, we've driven wrong way on highways on occasion during emergency situations when we don't have a choice. But when you drive wrong way on a highway, the reflectors on the roadway there, they have red on the opposite side. So when you're driving, there's a sea of red coming at you, which isn't normal. You normally don't see that. Oh. So we have people driving for miles and don't realize it, putting everyone's life at risk because of their terrible choice that night.
Just brings chills to my you know, to see this, right? I mean, to see the car like this, I mean, somebody lost their life, right? All right, I bring this up because, yeah, see, right? You got to smile,
I saw it
right?
parked out there.
Even fast cars get pulled over, right? State troopers that drive the motorcycles, we talk about them all the time. They use the LiDAR and they do different things and stuff like that. Hats off to them because they're driving two-wheeled vehicles out there, right?
They are professionals. I've watched them ride, working in this Las Vegas Valley. They are amazing at what they do. Kudos to them because I've never sat on a motorcycle, nor will I ever, and they have my utmost respect. They're amazing at what they do.
Amazing
True
what
professionals.
they do, right?
And they prevent so many accidents. They will saturate an area. If we have an area that's experienced a lot of crashes, we'll deploy our motors unit, and it's amazing the work they get done to reduce accidents. Because what happens here, this fine automobile was pulled over.
Yeah.
Well, as everyone's passing it, they're slowing down.
Right. The looky-loos.
Yes, which could be a problem. We need them to tap the brakes this way. We don't need to tap and look to the right.
100%. We're at the end of the picture show.
Okay.
I would just, you know, like you to know that on behalf of the Trooper Talk and what we do in regards to Trooper May, you know, one of your officers lost his life. Anything you'd like to say about it?
I had the pleasure of working with Micah on the graveyard shift, and the car's right there. I rode on the top passenger side, Graveyard Warrior.
I saw that.
That's what it was. We have a unique bond on the graveyard shift, and he was 100%. He was the graveyard troop. You speak a lot with Trooper Smacka, Trooper Wellman. They're graveyard warriors as well. It was a huge loss to the family. Not only the Highway Patrol family, but his family, his children, his extended family, and he'll never be forgotten.
And so with you coming on Trooper Talk, you know, this is what we hope, you know, like, you know, we need to save one life, and then from one life we're going to go to two. And so, you know, with you coming on and talking about from not only all the different types of, from the strike team and stuff, but the drug interdiction. You know, one of the things that's very important is that NHP has a lot of different things, right?
We wear a lot of hats, yes, sir.
So Sergeant Stunkel, who is the president of the IPOF, said, before he leaves, get him on camera and ask him about when he was on parole and probation. See? Okay. Give us a quick story or something like that.
Okay, so I really learned, and I'll be honest with you. When I started my career, it was take people to jail, on to the next. But as I got older, I realized, like we talked about earlier, that's not working. We can't arrest our way out of problems. So I saw an opportunity to go to parole and probation. I started my law enforcement career in California as a probation officer. And it was you really get to know individuals. I was in juvenile probation, so I connected with a lot of kids. I was fortunate enough from there to get hired by the Nevada Highway Patrol. But I always knew at some point I wanted to go back to parole and probation. So there was an opportunity that presented itself 2 years ago, and I took that opportunity to transfer over as a lieutenant. It's within the Department of Public Safety. And that's one of the amazing things working for the DPS is we can transfer around and do different things. And that really opened my eyes, because as troopers, we're not necessarily in houses every day. Unless we're doing accident follow-up, that's the most common time we'll end up in the house. Well, our partners at parole and probation, that's all they do is go in houses. So you see the effects of what happens when someone goes to jail. When mother, father, brother, sister, somebody goes to jail because they're violated from probation or parole. It's not as easy as putting handcuffs on and taking them to jail, because now there's a family left to fend, they have needs. There's the human element. You hit it. The human element that hit my heart. So that's kind of what I wanted to bring back when I decided to come back to Highway Patrol. I will 100% always be grateful for my time at parole and probation, because it hit my heart. I was able to connect with individuals. I still have, I don't like calling them parolees, probationers.
Sure.
They're my team. I call them my team, and here's why. Because we live in the same community. I need them to be successful. We need them to be successful, because where do you shop? Where do you go out in the community? We're together. We have to be teammates.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of my teammates that I've connected with on a personal level that I'm in constant contact with. You know, unfortunately, when Trooper May passed, some of the most heartfelt messages I received were from my teammates who were under supervision of parole and probation, because we've made that connection.
Yeah.
And that's the important part of wearing this badge, is making that connection. That's what this badge is about. It's not about arresting people. Yes, I will never, ever apologize for making a public safety arrest. If somebody is a threat to the public, they need to go to jail, because people need to sleep safely. But I assure you, when they get out, we will be standing there to help rehabilitate them and get them reintegrated into society. That's our job.
You know, the thing is that it's really amazing, because you can see that passion in the way that you talk and in what you do.
I believe in people. I believe in second chances.
We talked last week, we'll finish up with this, but you know, the DPS careers, and that was one of the things that was really important, is that someone can transfer between different types of things inside of the family.
Absolutely.
Right?
I absolutely love being a state trooper. That's where my heart is. I am so proud to be a Nevada State Trooper, but I'm also proud of my time that I spent at parole and probation, because it completed me as an officer, I believe. I mean, I'm always learning, trying to grow, but that was the part that was missing from me. I didn't see that personal side until I went over there.
And you probably passed that down to everyone that works, right? I mean, like, you know, you can see it when you talk, right?
Absolutely. I mean, let's think about, you know, drug traffickers. You know, you have different elements of drug traffickers. Some people do it for a living. Some people are forced to do it. That's where we have to be investigators.
We could probably go on and keep continuing to talk, but I want you to know that I appreciate it. I hope to see you again. Maybe maybe bring the dogs or something, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
You know, the thing is that we want everyone to know that all these different things are available not only for the troopers, but that you're out there protecting everybody.
24/7, we're on the highways.
What is your final thoughts here, being on Trooper Talk? Did you have fun?
I had a great time. I had an amazing time. It was very honored to meet you. It was a pleasure to do this. And
but it's fun, right?
Oh, yeah, it was a good time.
Like, at least we're trying to get the message out there. We want everyone to know, but at the end of the day, we want to save lives.
That you hit it on the head. If we can save one life,
That's what's
we
important.
won.
I thank you very much. We're going to face this camera right here, and we're going to tell everybody, keep safe on the roadways. Don't do bad things.
Keep safe on the keep safe on the roadways and don't do bad things.
See you
Make
later.
good choices.
Make good choices.